Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, because today, we're going back to a time when design wasn't just about performance, it was about poetry on four wheels. A time when every curve told a story, every line whispered passion, and every engine carried the heartbeat of post-war Italy. And right in the middle of that rebirth stood a car so stunning, so elegant, and so audacious, it looked like it had just flirted with Sophia Loren herself. This is the 1949 Cisitalia 202 SC Berlinetta by Vignale. A masterpiece by Vignale. A car that didn't just drive through history, it styled through it. Picture Italy in 1946, a country rebuilding from the ashes of war. Fuel was scarce, factories were silent, and the average Italian was getting around on two wheels instead of four. But one man, Piero Dusio, had a vision. A businessman, racer, and dreamer, Dusio didn't just want to make cars, he wanted to make rolling sculptures. He founded Cisitalia, short for Compagnia Industriale Sportiva Italia, in Turin, and his goal was simple: blend the soul of a race car with the beauty of fine art. His first project, the D46 single-seater, was a racing success. But Dusio wasn't satisfied. He wanted to bring that same spirit to the open road. And thus the Cisitalia 202 was born. A design so ahead of its time, it made even the critics put down their wine glasses in stunned silence. This was not just a car, it was a declaration of Italy's rebirth. The secret to the 202's brilliance was its engineering. Instead of the heavy steel ladder frames most cars used, this one featured a tubular space frame, a technique normally reserved for race cars. The body, light and flowing, wrapped around it like a tailor-made Italian suit. It was aerodynamic, sensual, and elegant, a perfect balance between aggression and grace. Underneath those smooth fenders and delicate lines was the heart of a racer. Now the car you see here, the 1949 Cisitalia 202 SC Berlinetta by Vignale, represents the absolute pinnacle of that idea. Vignale, a young and talented coach builder at the time, took the base design and gave it his own touch. His version carried slightly sharper creases, a more defined tail, and a silhouette that looked like it was drawn with a single continuous stroke. Each panel was shaped entirely by hand from aluminum, meaning no two cars were ever truly identical. They were handmade expressions of passion, automotive art in motion. Only around 170 Cisitalia 202s were ever produced, and just a handful of those wore the Vignale badge. That makes this car rarer than some Ferraris, and far more personal. The one in this story, chassis number 115SC, was originally shipped all the way to Argentina, because even across the ocean, enthusiasts wanted a piece of Italian genius. It spent its early life as a gentleman's sports coupe, before becoming a family's daily driver in Buenos Aires. Imagine doing school runs in a hand-built Italian sports car. That's the kind of energy we all aspire to. Under that long curved hood sat a 1.1-liter inline-4 borrowed from Fiat. Doesn't sound like much, right? But don't be fooled. The engineers at Cisitalia squeezed every ounce of power out of it. They added an aluminum high-compression head, dual carburetors, and a dry sump lubrication system, straight from the world of racing. The result? Around 60 horsepower at 5,500 RPM, and a red line that screamed up to 6 grand. In 1949, that meant speeds of over 160 kilometers per hour, or roughly 100 miles per hour. Not bad for something that looked like a piece of jewelry. The transmission was a 4-speed manual, with synchronized third and fourth gears. First and second, well, those demanded skill, old-school double-clutching at its finest. The suspension setup came from the Fiat 500 Topolino, using dual wishbones and a transverse leaf spring at the front, with a live rear axle supported by semi-elliptical leaf springs. Combined with its lightweight 780-kilogram chassis, the car danced through corners like it was alive. It wasn't a brute force racer. It was a graceful athlete in a world of clumsy muscle. And yet, it wasn't all performance. Inside, the 202 was a masterclass in simplicity and taste. The cabin was wrapped in rich Italian leather, with delicate metal toggle switches and a dash that whispered La Dolce Vita. You sat low, surrounded by craftsmanship that felt more like a boutique than a machine. Visibility? Practically none, but who needs to see when you look that good? Even the luggage area was accessed from outside, a novelty at the time, proving that for all its artistry, the Cisitalia was meant to be driven, not just admired. The ride was firm, the brakes were optimistic, and the handling was raw. But it was alive. Every vibration, every note from the exhaust, every corner reminded you that you weren't just driving, you were participating in something rare. Of course, exclusivity came at a price. Back in the late 1940s, a Cisitalia cost the equivalent of over $100,000 in today's money, more than 2 Cadillacs combined. Each nut and bolt was hand-assembled by artisans who treated every car like a work of art. For most people, it was a dream they could only admire through showroom glass. For the lucky few, it was an invitation to own a piece of living sculpture. Fast forward to today, and the 202 has become a legend in the collector world. Museums display them, auction houses fight over them, and designers still study them. In recent years, pristine examples have sold for anywhere between 400,000 and 700,000 euros, depending on body style and history. The specific Vignale-bodied car featured here was once bid up to 390,000 euros, but even that didn't meet the reserve. Because how do you really put a price on art? The value of the Cisitalia 202 isn't in its numbers, it's in its story. It's the story of post-war resilience, of design triumphing over destruction, of engineers and artists rebuilding hope out of aluminum and courage. It's not just a car, it's a reminder of what human creativity can do when passion outweighs practicality. Owning a Cisitalia isn't about transportation, it's about performance, in every sense of the word. You don't just drive it, you wear it, you perform with it. You become part of its lineage, a link in a chain of dreamers who believed that beauty and engineering could exist in perfect harmony. So the next time you see a sleek Italian coupe from the 1940s, remember, behind every curve is a story of ambition, elegance, and survival. And as for the Cisitalia 202 SC Berlinetta by Vignale, it remains a reminder that sometimes art doesn't hang in a gallery, sometimes it roars down a mountain road with a grin on its grille and history under its wheels. And if you love stories like this, tales of beauty, innovation, and the machines that defined eras, hit that subscribe button, because these legends deserve to keep rolling. May your oil pressure stay high, your neighbors stay jealous, and your Italian classics never lose a hubcap on cobblestones.